What is up, everybody? I'm Gojo, and thanks to your votes, guys, this What If is now possible. So this is What If I was a Jeager in Marvel. Now, I did explain the backstory in the community check. If you guys have not actually read it, it partly explains to me, but now I'm bringing you guys the story as I explained myself. Of course, this will begin in a small home in a small town. Of course, the town will be not small, it will be a literally area town with no people except a two couple. This couple will practically get married after a couple of years and eventually have a son. But the baby will have an incredibly special power. A power to practically control the metal itself and even bend it to practically hold technology itself in its own body. This boy would have known by many names, but they decided to practically give the nickname Jason. Jason, of course, would be pretty energetic as himself, being pretty happy and pretty expressive boy, that being myself, of course. I'll be really happy and pretty respectful of my parents. My parents, of course, take care of me a really long time. Of course, I decided to pick up the nickname Jason so I can practically hide my true name, since I practically have mutant powers, so I do not have to reveal my true name. Because I don't want to practically endanger my parents, nor my parents want to endanger me as well. Of course, I'll practically be a normal student in a normal school, living my life, and eventually my mutant powers will start to come out. It will come out by the time of bullies trying to bully me. At the time of school when I was trying to practically act normal. But of course they will start to bully me, and eventually my mom will transform them into a plasma cannon, knocking them out. Of course I'll be pretty surprised and shocked as I will run away back to home. Eventually I will explain everything to my parents, with my mother taking care of me and making sure that everything's alright. With my father also came up with a cover story that an electricity practically shocked the boys when I was there. Of course, the boys do not remember anything about what happened that day. They only remember a strike of lightning hitting them and nothing more because of the plasma cannon practically giving them a headache, which would most likely make them forget about these memories. So yeah, because of this, I most likely was safe, but for now that was. Of course, I knew that I most likely would be found. Sooner or later, I knew something would find me, or someone. Someone tried to practically use me as a weapon so they can get what they want, and my parents knew that. So they decided to move us into a new city. Of course, this will be around by the time of Tony practically building his Iron Man suit. Which, of course, most of the time, Tony will practically mean doing his job by destroying his weapons. Of course, my parents would have found out about Stark practically being Iron Man and being a hero. So practically, they were practically inspired of making me a hero as well. But eventually, after some time, Hydra would have found us, and eventually they would have killed my parents, leaving me being the only one survivor. Of course, they were able to capture me and decided to practically do experiments on me, wanting to see how far I'll come after those experiments, knowing well that my mutant abilities are incredibly rare. I'll eventually be on my own cell, being besides three other cells, with a girl named Wanda, which is much more older than me, and a boy named Quicksilver, which will be a nickname that he gave himself, and a girl which almost has a cat-like appearance, except she has dark blue and whitish blue and purple with her own skin. Her name was Lila, or Lily, which of course is a short name for her. Eventually they'll ask me my name, and I eventually tell them that I will not reveal my true name, but for now they can call me Jason, since I was not practically comfortable with them knowing my true name. But of course they didn't expect that from me, since I practically have lost my parents to Hydra, because Lily understands that since she did go through the same thing as me, and she does understand my pain. Of course, I'll be kind of silent and don't want to talk to them, since I was kind of worried that they might use me or trying to do something to me. I'll be pretty worried and insecure, and eventually multiple experiments will come afterwards, with Hydra practically experimenting not only on me, but also the twins and Lily herself. We go through many experiments throughout the years, with me practically going to the most brutalest ones. They practically test my abilities of regeneration and even capability of practically using technology. They'll constantly torture me to practically upgrade their weapons more, and eventually even push me beyond my humanity limits. Eventually it will be to a point that I'll gain too many scars on my body to practically even heal them. My regeneration will grow stronger, but the mental damage I was done to my mind and my body was too much. Of course, I will practically take care of me and eventually help me heal up so I can be better. Of course, Quicksilver and Wanda could not do anything since they were most likely the main course of Hydra itself, with me also being the main course as well, while that was practically a backup side if us three failed. Eventually, of course, when you eventually raid the lab, and eventually eventually fought against everyone. Of course, me and I were practically able to find out this chance of us practically escaping. I just went to my gypsy form so I can practically escape, breaking through the entire building as I was able to escape due to my gigantic size. I was able to practically carry it lightly, but both Quicksilver and Wanda have escaped like they did in the original, with both of us not knowing where they went, but still kind of worried for them. I did kind of see Wanda and Quicksilver as a kind of siblings to me, without actually being close to me. Both of us have actually developed feelings for one another, but we did not know it yet, since we were still pretty young, with both of us being around 18 to 19, close to that age. So yeah. Of course, when the Avengers does found us, they practically think that I'm practically against them or trying to attack them, but I will explain my reasons and eventually just went back to normal. Of course, they'll be pretty surprised at how young we were, and eventually Tony decided to take us back to Stark Tower. Eventually, of course, Tony will practically decide to listen to our full story, with me explaining the death of my parents, and eventually my mutant powers. Of course, most of the Avengers will be pretty surprised that mutants do exist, and actually Bruce will be pretty interested in my capability, since I can practically bond with technology and practically make myself a gigantic machine which can practically destroy buildings if I wanted to. Of course, Bruce will be pretty impressed by my capabilities, but he'll also be impressed by Lily's abilities, as she can practically become a cat, which can practically increase her normal regular abilities to 15 times stronger, make her much more stronger, while also making her much more agilable as well. Of course, Bruce practically kind of wanted to adopt me, but I was kind of not comfortable with Bruce. But someone decided to practically adopt me since he sees a lot of potential in me and wants to practically teach me and help me learn things with my own free will. Of course, I've been pretty happy and I decided to accept Tony adopting me, while Lily will practically accept Bruce adopting her. Of course, Black will practically be surprised that Bruce wants to actually adopt someone, but Bruce has learned that through love and hardship, everything can be done. He knows that in his experience a lot in his youth, so he thinks that it's better if Lily practically has someone by her side and then be alone. Which of course, Black will just smile as she looks back at me and Lily as both of us were talking normally. Black can see that both of us were having things for one another, yet we did not actually notice it yet. But as the conversation between the Avengers and us two continue, deep inside Tony's lap, Ultron will begin to gain consciousness himself, starting to build his own body with a parts of Tony's suits to practically get himself free. Of course, as we all talk, I'm able to sense something disturbing between Tony's systems as I look around. It won't be confused why I was looking around, but Lee can practically tell by me. Since she knows that I can practically sense viruses going through many systems because of the constant training I've been input through because of Hydra. Leo asks me if something is wrong with me, telling her that something is coming here, and he feels really evil. Eventually, as I turn my head to a door, I'll then see Ultron. Ultron will just laugh and look at me, knowing my information about me, alongside knowing that I'm actually part of the machine because of Hydra. Ultron would then say to me that I can be free if I wanted to. I don't need to be adopted by those false heroes, which they call themselves. They may protect innocence, but they also bring much more pain than safety as well. Of course, Joe to be surprised by Ultron gaining his own sentience, and eventually, most about that happens in the movie does happen as the same. But Ultron does give another speech, and that being for me, telling me that I have my own choice. I have the power to practically destroy the world if I wanted to. I can practically grant myself any wish I desire, yet I'm not doing that. But Ultron telling that either way, he'll find a way to practically make me rethink my choices, either by force or by just exploding me. Of course, Thor will then throw his hammer at him, destroying Ultron, as Ultron then rebuilds his new body. I'll then sigh as I think about what Ultron said, but I know that Ultron is wrong. I want a family. I want to practically live a normal life. But with my powers, can I even live a normal life anymore? Can I actually be a normal person? I will continue to think those thoughts between my head and something pat my head, telling me to not think too much about them. Saying to me that the world is not only focused on me, but it's only focused on the people who want power. If the world wants power, then Tony will practically help me gain this power so I can protect the innocents and those people who deserve it. I'll smile as I'll thank Tony. Tony will then smile and saying that he'll get the adoption papers later. Now we have a mission to defeat Ultron. I'll then nod as me and Lily will prepare ourselves. Of course, Black Widow had to give her a dress, but Lily's chest will actually be a lot bigger for the dress that Black Widow has, so she has to make set updates. Of course, I'll kind of blush seeing her with a tight suit, which of course Tony will just smirk at me, with Thor also doing the same. While Bruce is telling to knock it off, as of course, he didn't want practically to make me even more embarrassed. I decided to practically go to a much more small version of my Jeager form, and eventually swam into Gypsy Avenger. Which, of course, I would not call it Gypsy Avenger yet, but I would just call it Gypsy form version 2. Of course, I do want to become Avenger, like my adopted father Tony now, but I'm still not old enough. I must be at least 19 or 20 to probably do that, or at least be much more experienced in battle. So yeah. Of course, Nick Fury does see a lot of potential in me and thinks that maybe joining the Avengers at a young age might bring me a lot more experience. So he thinks over that, but for now, I'm not officially Avenger, alongside Lily herself as well. And actually, of course, most of the battle between Ultron and the Avengers will go the same, with me and Lily probably able to provide much more help, but eventually when we spot both Quicksilver and Wanda probably helping Ultron, I'll be in shock of probably seeing them. I ask why they're helping this monster. He's probably trying to kill innocent people. Both Wanda and Quicksilver ask me why do I think that they're innocent people. They apparently don't know that we even existed, yet they treat us as monsters. I tell them that we can change our minds with the help of the Avengers and even Nick Fury himself and S.H.I.E.L.D. Maybe we can change those things about us. The people think about us. We can be heroes. We could be at least normal people. But both Wanda and Quicksilver will try to reject my proposal. Lily will try to attack Quicksilver, but Quicksilver able to dodge her barely. He'll be surprised that Lily has become much more faster than before. Lily tells Quicksilver that if they don't give up, then we will have to use force. With me agreeing as I pull out my plasma blades. Tell you that they may be my friends, but I'll not stop myself for trying to stop them from hurting innocent people. Both Wanda and Quicksilver will sigh and tell me that they don't have a choice. I'll be confused as I see Lee growing with red eyes as well as controlling her mind. She's not attacking, but I'll easily able to knock her out. Before I can practically turn around and practically face both Wanda and Quicksilver, they both would have already left. I'll then see that the Ultron has also escaped as I'll dare myself for laying my guard down. Eventually, I'm able to spot both Tony and Thor and ask them if they're alright. With both of them nodding, but eventually Tony is able to figure out that Bruce is on the way and has turned to Hulk. I'll be quite worried, but I know that I must stop him, with Tony telling me that he will help me out. Both me and Tony decide to head off, as Tony decides to go to get the Hulk Buster, while I decide to transform to my Jeager forms. But for now, this is the end for this part. I'll see you guys in the next one. Sayonara, everyone.